Most men want more clarity, more respect, more control over their lives, but few know how to get it. Welcome to the Bro Coach Podcast with Dennis Procopio, the founder of Man Up Life Coaching and the man behind thousands of transformed lives. Not red pill, not therapy, just the evolved man's blueprint for strength, presence, and purpose. Welcome to another episode of the Bro Coach Podcast. We are on episode 7. I am here with the Bro Coach himself, Dennis Procopio. Thanks for being here, man.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. What do you got on the menu for today? What are we doing?
So on the menu today, I wanted to talk about a topic that came up in our recent conversation in one of our sessions, talking about friendship and doing a lot of research on words like the loneliness epidemic. And especially for high achieving men where, a lot of people have friends at work, right? But the further you go up the ladder, the less friends you're going to have because, you're not going to be friends with your employees, or at least you shouldn't. So wanted to kind of dive into that topic on what we talked about on friendship and kind of how that connects to the guys in the community.
Cool. Where do you want to start with that?
Why do you think most guys have challenges around friendship? Like they have a lot of things figured out, married, kids, they're 40 or something. Why do more guys struggle with that than they're willing to admit?
So, one of the things that I notice when guys come into Man Up Life Coaching is that they are down on themselves. That is a very common, consistent characteristic of dudes coming into coaching. They're down on themselves in some way. Now, a guy might be down on himself with millions of dollars in, his, portfolio and, a ton of crypto and a couple of houses, nice cars, kids, toys. And you say, well, why is this guy down on himself? Sometimes that guy will know why he's down on himself. I'm down on myself because I started from a place of scarcity. And even though I have a ton of money and assets and everything, there's still this voice in my head saying more. You got to make more. You got to do more. And so I kind of feel like I'm learning that enough is never enough. And I feel like I'm always working and I don't know how to get off the treadmill, establish some work-life balance and be present and be happy and offer my wife the presence that she's looking for, my kids, whatever. So that's a version of a guy who comes in and is down on himself, even though he seems to have on paper what a lot of people are looking for. Then there is the more typical, down on myself because I don't think I'm living up to my full performance potential. So the guy who says, we're coming into 2026, and back in 2021, I told myself that I was going to, get promoted, consolidate my time, start a new business and lean into entrepreneurship. The clock is ticking and I feel like I'm still always just getting bills paid. I'm not there yet. I'm a high earner, but I'm not killing it. And on top of that, I'm having relationship challenges and I feel like that's got me stuck. There's another version of a client who comes in and says, I'm not in a relationship. I kind of live to work. I'm either at work doing my job or at home, kind of killing time. And I really feel like what's missing from my life is social. I'm trying to meet women on apps and it's a freaking cesspool. You can't go out anywhere by yourself without looking like a lurker. Um, so I kind of feel like if I had a group of bros to hang out with, it would increase the chances of meeting, female friends in that friend group and somehow getting plugged into a network. It's very rarely that I have a client come through and say, "Oh, I've got a totally awesome friend network. I've got like great bro relationships, and that's all going really well. But I've got this other problem that's the reason I'm here." It's just nuts, but a co-condition for coming into either therapy, which this overlaps with therapy, this meaning my business, what I do, being a bro coach, or coming into some sort of, accountability coaching. It seems like a co-condition that I have guys who are saying, I'd like more male friends. I don't feel like I've got that guy or that group of guys who I feel really like close to. And it's uncomfortable for dudes to even say that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, it sounds kind of gay.
Right. Which and if you are gay, like you're winning the game, bro. Because you got a buddy and benefits. But for the average straight guy, whether he's in a relationship or not, the idea of going out there and being like, I gotta figure out a way to pull some men. That's just not how we think. You know.
Well, it's funny too. It's like the overlap. Like I said, that interesting story where married dude, most of his friends are friends of his wife's friends, right? Or friends of other people, or maybe his high school friends. Like he has these two groups of friends where he has these rusty friends from like high school or college, and they kind of like talk once a year. And all they do is they talk about what happened on the varsity football, circuit or whatever. And then they have their wife's friends who are just kind of situational, right? But I find that one of the things, when I was married, one of the things that I missed was I didn't have the dude to talk to about the stuff I should be talking dude stuff about. And I tried to like make my wife my best friend. And that was a mistake for me. I mean, do you find a lot of guys where they kind of turn their wife into their best friend, their therapist, their accountability partner kind of thing?
Yeah,
Uh,
dude. It works in both directions. So first of all, I want to acknowledge what you're saying. Just that thing that you said, I get it all the time where somebody's like, "Man, I'm really bummed." I'm like, "Why? What's the deal?" And they're like, "Well, I have this group of friends who have been my friends since college, and so we still get together, but we've kind of grown apart. Um, Either I have kids now and they don't, or they have kids, or we all have kids. But when we get together, it's just not kind of exactly the same. I feel like I need like local friends. I feel like I need somebody who lives nearby who's just like a bro that would be like when we were kids, like somebody you'd freaking play Call of Duty with or something and just kind of hang out with and you know have a catch with, freaking lie in the grass with a blade of grass between your teeth with your looking at the sky and the stand by me years, where you're like, when I grow up, I'm gonna have a whatever kind of car or whatever. Like that bro that you're just friends with that you just kind of like dream with and you could be like, oh, my wife's being a bitch, oh dude, mine too, or whatever. Like bro friendships are critically important. And as you said, there's an expression, make new friends but keep the old. One is silver but the other is gold. Okay, cool story. But as if there are people that you're only meeting with a couple of times a year, you're going to start doing just what you said. Hey, honey, so I've been playing with my computer and I've been playing with Chat GPT, and now look at all these things that I can make it do. It's got all these features. I don't care. Well, do you even understand? Like, this benefits us. I don't care. Do you even know how it works? Magic. I don't care. Like, I love you. I'm sorry. You need somebody who cares to talk to. That's stuff I don't care. Whether it's your Jeep, in my case, your motorcycle, in my case, your computer nerd crap, in my case. And a lot of my clients have this overlap with me. They have this crap they want to talk about. And their wife is just like, I love you, but I really don't, this isn't interesting for me. But she wants you to watch romantic freaking TV shows with her, like The Bachelor or whatever crap they have, that you're supposed to sit there with the tear in your eye and go, oh, this is so believable and really touching. She wants you to be her friend, and then she was like, and I was like, oh my God, am I right? And you're supposed to go, yeah. Oh God, screw her. She's terrible. You were right in that situation. She wants a girlfriend. You want a boyfriend, or not a boyfriend, but a bro friend. And we're back. Okay. But welcome to the bro closet. But seriously, guys really, really need guy friends, and it's becoming more and more. It's becoming less and less of a thing.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast by Mark Manson. He did a 4-hour episode on friendship, and he talked about how he actually made the statement that friends are more important than arguably your marriage, like in your overall like mental health and longevity and things like that. And it was a really interesting dynamic to it. And I think it brings in more of the community aspect of it, where I think that most high performing guys, they probably a little bit more lone wolf, where it's like, I'll just work. I don't really need friends. And I'll just keep working because I'm good at it, and I don't want to go to the playground and be like, will you be my friend? Like,
Right.
I like you and we like the same things. So maybe we could like hang out and play Tonka trucks together,
Right. Right. And so about that. So that's interesting, right? Because I think that there's a reason that alcohol and recreational drugs serve a function in society. Like, I think men do well, first of all, dudes don't like rejection. Dudes do not like rejection. We do not like rejection. So we would rather not ever put ourselves on the line if there's a possibility of being rejected. And second of all, yeah, guys don't call each other up and go, hey, what you doing? That's just not a thing. Hey man, what's up? Everything okay? Yeah, I just saw some truck parked out in front of the house. I was wondering, do you see it too? Yeah. You want to investigate? Yeah, okay. I'll get a walkie-talkie. Let's go. We're on a mission, But it's not just, what you wearing. It's not a thing. But men do want friends. But then there's another thing, which is men want friends, but we're also not really interested in commitment. So on one hand, we want friends, but then on the other hand, we want the friend who's around when we want somebody to hang out with, but also somebody who's not going to be butthurt when they're like, hey, what are you doing? Not now, dude. Spell wonton backwards. You know what I mean? I'm busy. I'm over here. I'm shaking and moving. I'm hustling. I'm trying to put the, turn dollars into bigger dollars, Oh, no, I totally get it, man. I'll catch you on the rebound.
Spell wonton backwards.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, what does that mean? I was like, oh, just sitting here like pondering that. It took me a second.
So
my RAM is like,
and that's exactly the kind of dumb shit that dudes are looking for from other dudes, because somewhere there's a bunch of girls rolling their eyes, all looking at each other like, guys are so dumb. Anyway, did you see The Bachelor? Um, so, I mean, you're dad, right? You have three girls and a a matriarch in your house. Um, that must really, really make you want some bro, like some balance.
Yeah, man. It was a huge investment of intention that, I started like a men's group of, I'm divorced, so I'm not married, but long-term relationship. And, I've had these moments throughout my life. Like I joined a fraternity in college because I basically didn't know how to make friends. I was just like, oh, these guys look cool and they get to hang out with all these hot chicks. So like, I'll give them some money so we can like pretend to be brothers and then justify it. Like it'll get me networking opportunities and jobs in my future version of me in college. But, it wasn't true.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
so it just takes so much intention. And in that podcast, they talked about the number of hours you needed to invest with somebody. And to have like a best friend, it takes like 200 hours. And if they want to be good friends, it takes like over 90 hours. And it's not like all at once, it's these little bite-sized pieces. So the amount of intention, the amount of work, the amount of like, commitment, right? It's a big commitment, 200 hours that it takes to create that, best friend energy is a lot. So, you know, I've been working on it for a couple of years and I've made a little bit of a dent. I'm further into it than I was 2 years ago, but certainly still haven't figured it out. And there are times where I go lone wolf and kind of isolated, and it's like, oh shit, I haven't talked to my dudes in a bit. Like I should, go grab a beer. Or, well, I don't drink, but go grab a coffee or go for a hike in the woods or go chop a tree down or something.
Yeah, right, right. So here's I'm gonna address this in two different ways. You started this by saying the loneliness epidemic. So as happy as I am to goof around, and I'll spend an hour with you going, pull my finger, because I know that our audience is guys who probably are like, I like these dudes. They're just a couple of guys who you can tell they're smart, but they're not all like into themselves about it. And they seem like dudes who would be fun to hang out with. Like we've got our bases covered. We both lift, we're both guys who are in relationships and love the women that we're with. Don't really have relationship trauma. So that's interesting for other guys. Nobody wants to hang out with you if you're always talking about some crazy, psycho chick stuff. So like, we check boxes, right? We're both dudes who like play chess. Like I said, I do, I do the off-roading thing with my Jeep. I ride, I'm known to ride a motorcycle coast to coast from time to time. Um, I think I'm a pretty interesting guy. I like animals. I have a dog. I have a kid. I'm a special needs dad. Like I'm a coach for men. So hanging out with me, people are always like, so what's that like? Whatever. I've lived all over the place. I have stories, New York, Philly, where I'm from, New Orleans, California. Like it makes for time well spent. And then you come back to your little tidal pool and you're like, oh, that was nice. Whatever that was, low stress, hanging out, but not trying to be like, we're men doing man stuff, whatever. It's not like desperately masculine, like we're going to go wear loincloths and like drag our nutsacks through the underbrush eating raw meat or whatever with like, war paint on our faces. So I think that guys, my point was, I think that guys listening to us are like basically, like you said, I'd have a beer with these bros. And I also don't drink. So, I whatever, have a sarsaparilla with these bros. But the loneliness piece is a separate conversation. And that's what I want to address. You ready? I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to say words. All right. So I think there's, we all know the expression, no man is an island. And I think that guys like to imagine, yes, I am, right? I could go to space all by myself and I'd be fine. I could go live in Mars. I could go live in a cabin in the woods and, not talk to anybody. I could do that.
Hey man, stop spinning your wheels. If you're serious about leveling up your career, your relationships, and your mindset, it's time to man up. At Man Up Life Coaching, we cut the excuses and build discipline, confidence, and purpose. Book your free strategy session now at manuplifecoaching.com/application. Don't fill it out if you're not ready to grind, but if you are, this call could change your life. Man Up Life Coaching, elite life coaching for men by men.
I think there's some male pride wrapped up in the idea that you could do that, because the idea that you couldn't implies that you're socially needy. And I think that's almost kind of like seen as a weakness. So I think it's kind of like a masculine sort of bragging right to be able to say, I don't need people. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because that means you might need help, or, there is that need word in there that if you add an E to it, then
right.
No guy wants to be that.
No guy wants to be needy. You know why I have tools? So that I don't have to be the guy who borrows shit. You know why I learned how to fix everything myself? So I don't have to ask somebody else to come over and fix it for me. And then I look like, whatever, And there's a fine line. I mean, that's what keeps a lot of guys from coming to coaching, is because they're like, I don't want to admit that I need help, but they're more likely to come to me than they are to a therapist. So it's, this is a good entry point for guys who are willing to accept that, you have to have some humility, and you have to accept that you do have needs, and we're social creatures. Like it or not, you do actually benefit from having exchanges with other people. Now, here's a fun fact. Most of my guys are more on the introverted side than the extroverted side, unsurprisingly. They're cavemen. They are not super, performative, life of the party guys. They're, unless you get them drunk or something, but just on the average day, they're not. So what happens? They fall into routines. What's a routine look like? Hey, I'm a bro of any age, 20s, freaking 50s. I don't care. I'm a guy. I open my eyes. I go, fuck, another day. I don't know many men who go, hey, it's a great day to be alive. That's just not how most dudes wake up. They wake up like, shit. All right, let's go. I have one client who's always like, he says, I literally just open my eyes and go flat out, and I jump out of the bed. So I'm like, that's most guys. I just go, all right, cold water on my face. Let's go. So what do? You take a piss, you brush your teeth, you have some coffee, freaking whatever. You address your email, crap, whatever. You go do a job. I don't care what you do. You work from home, you go to a job, you do something. Now, the dudes who work with other guys, there's a positive and a negative to that. Have you ever done construction?
No.
Okay. I've done everything, but I've done construction. So I have. I know you're laughing because you're thinking about me as the Easter Bunny in the Massapequa freaking mall. I know. Dude, I've done every job. It's so dumb. I've done every job. But anyway, So we're talking about lonely guys, not me in a freaking Easter bunny costume. But anyway, well, that'll be our Easter episode. I'll talk about that. Totally bizarre though, dude. Stunk. The fucking Easter bunny costume stunk like some like cigarettes and alcohol and sweat. And like I got teenagers like coming and sitting on my lap, and I'm like, this is really what I'm doing for money. Kids are screaming because they're scared of me. I'm like, just come get the candy, take the picture, anyway. But I've done construction, and I have to say, even though you can get pissy with each other from time to time and get into your little snits, and it kind of looks like a reality TV show, the deal is, when you work construction or you work whatever, you're putting a roof on a house, you're doing anything that involves manual labor working together, there really is something cathartic about that. And having been on both sides of this, having worked labor and trade and having worked office jobs where you've got popcorn ceiling, water cooler, fluorescent lights, cubicle, I would say I much prefer the labor and trade vibe than the office, cubicle vibe. Move on up the ladder. My clients aren't cubicle guys. They're managers. They're L5, 6s, 7s, 10s, C-suite dudes. The higher up in corporate you go, the less you think of people that you work with as friends, and the more you think of them as associates, and you can be friendly, but these aren't your friends. And that can be isolating. And I know that very well. I'm friendly, but we're not friends. My work avatar and my home avatar are intentionally separate. Now, let's say you're somebody like myself who sits in an office. If you're listening to this, but you don't have any visual, I'm sitting in my home office and I'm recording this. I probably do 10 to 12 hours of coaching a day because it's what I like to do. My business model allows me to coach. I don't want to run a coaching business. I want to be a coach. And so I'm not lonely because I talk to bros all day long. Am I suggesting you become a coach for men? No, please don't. We have enough. Don't screw up my SEO anymore. Go put a roof on a house. But my point is, I do get to talk to people every day. So one thing that I suggest to guys who have a job where they don't get to talk to people every day is you're going to need to find an outing where you can talk to people. You need to find an outing where you can talk to people and it has no effect on your professional life. Like when I hang out with my Jeep dudes, I don't tell them I'm a life coach for men. I definitely don't tell them my brand. I don't want anybody to know who I am or what I do. I'm like, I'm just a guy. What do you do? Stuff. I'm here to just smoke a cigar, drink a Diet Dr. Pepper, and try not to roll my Jeep. That's what we're doing today. So you want to try to get the opportunity to talk and listen. You want to try to have FaceTime with other people. Computer's fine. Whatever. Online, exchanges, Zoom meetings, whatever's fine, but in person is always best. If there's a way for you to do something that's actually physical, even better. Make sure it's nobody who is associated with your work. It's a good idea to have an avatar that is separate from your work avatar, just a friend avatar. And as you said, about 90 hours to become a good friend and 200 hours to become a best friend. I wouldn't be thinking along those lines. Instead, I would just be hanging out until it fell off and then ask yourself, like, I would keep it a low commitment environment so that if you decided to drop out, like a BJJ class or something, so that if you decided to drop out, there wasn't butt hurt. Like, are you breaking up with me, bro? Know what I mean? Now, here's a question for you. Given that, and I still haven't addressed the loneliness piece, given that, what would you say you currently do or have done that satisfies that criteria?
Well, let's start in the men's group with the divorce guys. We have a standing meeting every 3 weeks. We do like mancations. Well, once a quarter or so, we'll go take a weekend, so Airbnb someplace, light a fire, cook some meat over it, go on a hike. Everyone kind of brings some food. Everybody plans a meal. Everybody plans an activity throughout it, and just kind of gets everybody outside their comfort zone a little bit. So right now, that's probably the only outlet outside of like playing pickleball or volleyball. So use your own sports. So
Is that like is that a Wisconsin thing? The volleyball? I've got Luke. I've got another client in Wisconsin, at least another client, and he's also on like 2 volleyball teams. Is that like a thing?
I don't know. I've never lived outside of Wisconsin, but it is a thing here. Yeah, like summers I play 2-3 days a week sometimes when my knee's not all jacked up.
What are you? You're 6'5", right?
Yeah,
I see that. I see that. Yeah, I think if I were 6'5", I'd probably go be spiking a ball into top of somebody's head too.
Yeah, I played in college, man. I played.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Yeah. Okay, so my question: who's interviewing who, Andrew? My question was, what have you done? Now, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Your men's group sounds like my nightmare. The moment you lost me at planning activities, I'm like, hell no, I'm not planning any activities. Like for me, like even my Jeep group, I'm apparently part of 2 local Jeep groups that do organized rides. And I actually don't want to go on the organized ride. It just seems like too many people, too many personalities, too much commitment. I'm like, I work 6 days a week. I don't want to dedicate one of my days during the week to doing something that's going to leave me like exhausted. It's going to drain my like introvert freaking battery. I need, like, if I hang out with people, I need another day or 2 to recharge from that. You don't have that, huh?
I mean, I see where you're coming from.
You could say you don't. I mean, it's not like, oh,
No. I'm analyzing it, right? It's like I don't think I have that. But I mean, there's not as. I think because I isolate so much, like having that time to kind of connect and just get out, be in the woods, and just kind of be out from my kids and out somewhere else. It's always like in nature. So I think that for me, I have to like seek out being in the woods and being outside and that kind of stuff. I live in Madison, Wisconsin, which is, a little bit too big of a city for me. So having that, I think that element is recharging for me. And the planning and stuff takes a lot out of me. And I don't enjoy that aspect of it, but someone's got to do it. Otherwise it's nothing's going to happen.
I get it. You're just a bunch of dudes sitting around going, what are we all doing here?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't enjoy it. It's necessary. And then if I know if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. Or if I let somebody else do it, then I'm going to be doing a bunch of shit that I don't want to do. So at least I'm in control of the scenario.
Yeah, no, I feel that. So let's talk about the loneliness piece. I think that in my experience, anytime I've lived alone, and I mean, I work with a lot of guys who are, who are currently either in a relationship but no kids, or even like not in a relationship. So, they'll be home on a Friday night with the clock ticking on the wall, feeling FOMO because they know stuff's going on out there and they're not doing it. It doesn't even matter if they're interested in doing it or not. It's just the fact that they feel like they're not connected. They're not home saying, this is nice. This is great. I've got my apartment or my house, got my dog or whatever. It's all clean, smells good, watching some TV. This is great. And so that's where you end up with guys who use like these dopamine traps. I'm thinking of one guy in particular right now. I mean, I've got a bunch of clients, but I'm thinking of this one guy in particular. Is he single? He's in his early 40s, tall, handsome guy, definitely eligible, lives in a great place. Not just a great like home, but part of the world. And I think he's an eligible bachelor, like for real. And he is somebody who is trying to avoid the trappings of a dude living by himself. What is that? You know what it is. It's the same crap. It's video games, it's doom scrolling, it's comfort food because like snacking or whatever. It's forcing yourself to do exercise. It's, you got an internet full of like porn or like, social media. Your algorithm quickly turns into like tits and ass if you're not careful. Like, how did that happen? This is
weird.
Yeah, this is uncanny. It's like on every app this happens. you know. And so this is a dude, for instance, who I think in our coaching really benefits from just once a week having a guy that knows everything about him. And it's the bro coach approach, which is not like, yes, hello, and welcome to our session. We have 50 minutes, so I'm going to need you to lie on the couch and let's pick up where we were last week. Let's talk about your mother. Yeah, she was a bitch, and my dad was never around. And, it's not that. I'll talk to guys, dude. I'll have a whole session sometimes where I have an agenda, but I see that the dude just wants to talk about something that's on his mind. And the next thing you know, we're talking about, I don't know, freaking basketball or it doesn't matter, politics. I think guys benefit from being able to share ideas, laugh, joke, be in a space where they can say locker room stuff and not get shut down for it. I think it's a big part of being a guy. You know me. If I can put my foot in my mouth, I'll find a way to do it. And that's all. I feel like that's almost part of my charm. Is like, whatever, sorry, I'm from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, so it is what it is. If you don't like it, tune out. Oh, you're gonna cancel me? I don't think so, because you're probably not listening to me to begin with. So guys need that. Now, how do you battle loneliness? Because we don't want to be lonely and we don't want to be needy. How do you battle loneliness? You've been with me for a minute. How do we battle loneliness here, Andrew?
For me, it's figuring out how to be okay with yourself. Like,
what does that even mean, though? Like, what is that?
I mean, I can kind of tell the story where it's like before I felt, most of my worth was defined by what I was doing, what I was achieving. And it sounds super corny, but I did love myself, right? I didn't like being by myself. So I'd always try to find a woman to like be with, to like, it's like, oh, if I love her enough, she'll love me back. And then I'll feel loved by loving her. Right. And kind of loving my way out of it. So what I've learned is how to just hold space, and how to, you know, how to have a new system of, have a system towards, like, you're not going down rabbit holes you shouldn't. And, a lot of times off when you're alone, like, the difference between being alone and lonely, right? So it's like, okay, I'm okay with being alone, right? Because I like myself. It takes a lot of work to kind of unprogram all of that stuff from years of not liking yourself. So,
Yeah. So it's funny about that. Years of not liking yourself. So what I've learned is a lot of guys collect, whether they realize they're doing it or not, they collect every criticism
mm,
that's ever been made, and it goes into a sort of a loop, and it plays subconsciously. Now I'll get the young client who's like, I don't do that. And I'll be like, dude, I literally just said subconsciously. So you're telling me you're conscious of what's happening subconsciously? Well, no, I just mean that I don't think I'm like really that down on myself. And I'll be perceiving the behavior, and the behavior is like, this is somebody who's judgmental. This is somebody who's competitive. This is someone who's constantly equating their value with performance. This is somebody who doesn't seem to give or receive unconditional love, or get that idea. Even the word love, they're like, it's, like it makes them uncomfortable to talk about self-love. They're like, does that involve a mirror and some lotion? And right, and it's easier for them to say, oh, I'm a fucking idiot, than it is for them to say, I'm a really good guy. you know um so one of the games that I play as a coach is trying to teach people to father their inner child. I have yet to meet a dude who doesn't have work to do in that area. You could tell me you had an awesome dad. You could tell me you had an abusive dad. You could tell me you had a negligent dad. You could tell me you had no dad. I am always seeing opportunities with the guys who I coach to help them to wrap their head around the idea that there's some fathering that they could do in the direction of their inner child that will liberate them. Now, what I've learned, and I know where we're at for time, so I want to stick the landing on this this podcast thing that we're doing here. One of the things that I've learned about fathering your inner child is being okay with being unproductive. Like, hey, I'm going to take off work today, but not in a like hide from your boss kind of way, just in a, you know what, I'm declaring a holiday, screw it, without feeling guilty. Or I'm going to take a 2-week hiatus and I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want, whether I go somewhere or it's a staycation, and I bed rot for 2 straight weeks and I just do nothing but solve chess puzzles on my phone. Get up to use the bathroom, get a drink of water, get right back to the couch. Like, one of the things that's really hard for my guys to do is to allow themselves to be okay with downtime. So that's, if you can be okay with that, that's a start. 2, we have a lot of self-talk. Everybody's constantly running a subconscious script. It's like, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. I wasn't joking when I said that there's this sort of tape loop that's constantly going that says, well, it's just repeating everything you've ever heard that was negative. So in this coaching culture, we intentionally self-validate. I will sit there and I will, if I catch myself slipping into darkness and catching a bad one, before I let it get weird, I will just start running a positive script to overwrite the shit script that's trying to take a hold of me. And I'll just say, and you know this because you're not no new jack to this culture, I'll say, you are happy, you are healthy, you are wealthy, you are strong. You are happy, you are healthy, you are wealthy, you are strong. And if I'm really down on myself, I'll pull out the big guns and I'll hit them with an 11-piece whammy. I'll say, you are good, you are kind, you are gentle, you are patient, you are peaceful, you are humble, you are loving, you are blessed, you are healthy, you are wealthy, you are strong. And I'll run that like windshield wipers to just keep the shit off of my mind's eye. That's not working. I'll drop and do some push-ups. Then I'll drop and do some more. Then I'll do some body weight squats. Then I'll grab a mop and mop the floor. I'll go outside and I'll pick up dog crap in the yard or anything. Eventually, if you lean into that loneliness, you will come out the other side of that. And then you'll start to be stingy with your own time, because once you beat the lonelies and you start enjoying the isolation, now you're going to be careful who you let into that, because you don't want somebody to come screw it up. And usually the people who I look for to share time with are people who I feel are putting the work in the way I'm putting in the work. So I'm not looking for anybody to be my friend. I'm actually not. I'm my friend. And I'm looking for somebody who's their friend. And I would like to share space with somebody that's like, just like me. I'm Dennis. I'm my own friend. You're so-and-so. You're your own friend. And yeah, like a couple of kids on the playground. Let's go hang out. Let's play. And then maybe I'll see you. Maybe I won't. Deuces. You feel me on that?
Yeah, I do.
Because a friend in need is a pest.
Nobody wants to be a pest.
I got enough little baby bird mouths to feed without having somebody glom onto me as my quote friend. And now I'm like, I just have another needy person around me. But I don't like being lonely. Oh, excuse me. I recognize that it's beneficial to spend time with other dudes. So if you're a guy and you're listening to this, here are some things you can do. Pick a hobby. It's the best way to do it. Pick a hobby. One of the ways I got myself in trouble is I like shooting pool. So the next thing you know, I got on a pool league. But pool leagues happen in bars. Bars involve alcohol. And the next thing you know, it can get a little bit ugly. So make sure you pick something healthy, right? Maybe a buddy that you want to lift with. Maybe I know guys who like go cycling together and that's their jam. Motorcycles. For the longest time, I loved, just being part of a group of dudes who ride and just say, hey, who's around this weekend? And go and riding. Anything physical. Organized sports is cool, but that can get a little complicated. It didn't have to be all that. It can also get competitive. Like I said, the Jeeping thing. Even like I got guys who, are more on the nerdy side and they go do Magic the Gathering. They go do that thing, or they go to game nights, or they go throw darts or whatever. I think the answer to the loneliness epidemic involves fewer opportunities to engage with each other offline, and having the opportunity to become totally holed up. So if you find yourself holed up, number one, get through it. Practice meditation, exercise, be your own best friend. If you have any bad habits, knock those off, because the dopamine traps are going to kill you. Finally, once you're good with yourself and you're like, yeah, I'm in a healthy little routine and a holding pattern. Go do crap you like and put your vibe, your antennae out there and see if there's anybody else who feels like you, which is just a chill guy out here doing a thing, but not needy and not looking for anything. Well, what if he's Republican and I'm a Democrat? Then don't talk about freaking politics, dude. Nobody cares. Just go hang out with some bros. Am I right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah? All right. So if you were somebody listening to this, what would your takeaway be from this session?
So step to friendship. 1, figure out how to be your own best friend, or like you actually like the man you're looking at in the mirror. Step 2, go do stuff you want to do. There happen to be other dudes doing it at the same time.
Right.
And get outside your comfort zone and just go. Like, and just take action on those things, right? And not have it be work related, right? Because I think that especially the high performing, high achieving guys, where it's like, well, I'll just go do business stuff with other business people, and then we're friends, and it's like, well, that's a little sticky.
It's a lot sticky. Trust me, I know. And the 3 of that, like you said, 1, hang out and be your own best friend. You don't want to go. You want to go. You want to go hang out with people because you want to, not because you're needy. You want to have something to offer. You don't go out because you're trying to get something from somebody else. 2, do crap you enjoy. 3, if you invariably end up in a situation where there is a sticking point, there's some sort of conflict of personality, or somebody gets their feelings hurt or whatever, recognize that as an opportunity to work on yourself. It's a very opportune little social dojo to work on not being butthurt and not being a hater and not gossiping and not taking your ball going home, but just kind of being like, water under the bridge, bro. Boom. See you on the next one. That's it. Right? Right. All
Absolutely.
Right. Well, listen, on that note, I'm Dennis. I am the bro coach. I'm a guy who has been coaching for a long time. 55 years old as of December 20th, 2025. And I've been doing this forever. So if you are interested in the culture of Man Up Life Coaching, if you are interested in following us and hearing what other bros think, feel, and are talking about, we would love you to like, subscribe, and do all that crap. But otherwise, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.